Hi boys and girls. Today we're going to be doing some scratch art, and that's if you're in the art room with me, I'm going to be giving you a special piece of paper that has really shiny glittery colors underneath it, and we're going to scratch our art on that. But if you're at home and you don't have that kind of paper, I'm going to show you really quick how you can make it. So the first thing you'll need is you'll need some crayons, you'll need a piece of paper, and you're going to take and cover the entire paper with crayon. Okay, it doesn't matter where or what color, but what you really want to be sure you do here is put down a really thick layer of crayon. If any white space is showing, what'll happen when you go to scratch this off is the dark color we put over it will get adhered to the paper and you won't be able to see these bright colors. So you got to make sure that the wax from the crayon is covering your whole paper. You don't want to see any little white space in there. You want it to be all crayon colors, okay? So if I do this over here like this and there's a little white space in between here, that's not good. So make sure you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you feel your paper, it should feel like it has crayon all over it. A nice, thick, chunky layer of crayon, okay? Once you have that whole paper covered with crayon, now I can see white through this. Can you guys see the white through my pink? That means I need to go, you can't see any white in there, okay? Some of the lighter colors you're really gonna have to check. I see a little bit of white up here on the edge too. I need to make sure that's covered, okay? And then I have this whole, I'm gonna keep coloring until the whole paper, I'm gonna keep coloring until the whole paper is covered with crayon. Not like this. That's no good because there's lots of white space in there. You're going to have to take those crayons and really work hard. Some people are really good at this. Some people love to color dark and like put really thick crayon on there, and other people don't. If you're one of those people that doesn't, this is going to be your day to practice that skill, okay? Really press hard on those. I even accidentally broke some of my crayons doing this when I was younger. I used to love those dark colors. Oh, it's kind of hard on my crayons. Okay, so I don't see any white here. I think I've checked all my spaces. Now, you're going to put your crayons away, and we're going to take out, you'll either need, I tried this with a black crayon. You can kind of do it with a black crayon, but I feel like it's better with a black oil pastel or black paint, okay? So, black oil pastel, I'm going to do half of this with black oil pastel and half of it with paint so you can see what happens. You're going to color over top of that with the black oil pastel or with the paint until you cannot see your colors anymore, okay? Make them disappear completely. I guess I should have been holding onto my paper there. Kind of ripped a little bit, but that's okay. All right, I still see a little bit of color through here, so I'm going to keep going back and forth until it's completely black. All right, oops, that was my fingernail that accidentally did that, which just tells you what we're going to do here in just a minute. You could use your fingernail, which is really super messy. I'm not going to do my fingernail. I have little wooden tools we're going to use in the art room. And then the other thing you could do is you can, if you have some black paint at home, you can just take your black paint and you can paint over this. Okay, make sure it's all covered up. You don't want to be able to see any of your beautiful colors. They're all going to be hidden under there for this big surprise, okay? Try to make your strokes kind of go all the same way so it's nice and smooth, okay? And then we're going to let that dry, okay? Now Mrs. Walker has a dry one over here that I'm going to bring over to let you show you. Okay, these have both, well, this is dried now, and this one is ready to go. Actually, right when you get the oil pastel over it, you can go ahead and start using this one as scratch art paper. This one I had to wait for it to dry. But what we're going to do, what you're going to do with your paper that you made, if you're at home, you're probably making this paper. Otherwise, we're doing it on the special scratch art paper. You're going to first do a diagonal line across from corner to corner, and then you're going to do another diagonal line from corner to corner. So you'll have a big X. Then you're going to do a T. So you're going to go down through the middle of that and then you're going to do a cross. So I've done diagonal, diagonal, then up and down is a vertical line, and then a horizontal line across. So I've done all of those different lines to make my spider web. Okay, now you should have triangles. You should be able to see 8 triangles. We're going to do now a curved line. We're going to go from one line to the other line, and I'm going to do a slight curve. You could curve out, or you could curve in. You could even do a straight line if you wanted to, but I think it looks better to curve in like this. So I'm going to do curved lines, and I'm just going to keep repeating that, going from one of my diagonal lines over to the other one, and I'm going to do that until I run out of space here. I might even do another one in here and probably go a little bit closer. All right, maybe one more. And then I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to turn it a little bit, and I'm going to go from diagonal line to diagonal line, doing that same kind of a curve. And I just want to be consistent about the amount of space between them. Keep doing that. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do diagonal to diagonal, doing that little curve line. And you're going to do this all the way around until you get to the other side of your, well, until you get back around to the original side. I'm going to keep doing that. And then the last thing you're going to do, look at how cool that looks. Really pretty spider web, right? The last thing you're going to do to finish off your spider web is we're going to make a spider in there. And if you were with me in class, we probably talked about spiders and how many body parts they have. Okay, normal or most insects have 3 body parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. But a spider has 2. It has a head and thorax fused together, so I'm going to make a circle for that, and then it has a big abdomen. So the legs are actually attached to their cephalothorax, which is their head and thorax fused together. So I'm going to do, how many legs does a spider have? I hope you know this. Spiders have 8 legs, so I'm going to put 4 legs on this side, and I'm going to put, I think, a little spinner that he's hanging down from. Okay, so there's my spider in the web, and that was with oil pastel paper. Now with the black temper paint, same thing. You're going to go diagonal to diagonal, or I'm sorry, corner to corner, making a diagonal. There's those two. That's how those two look. Okay? Okay. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the scratch art paper, and this is something that Mrs. Walker purchased that has some glittery, sparkly stuff behind it. But the tricky thing about this is if you touch it with your fingers, the oils from your fingers will make it so it's hard to scratch off. So if you want to just hold it around the edges like this, and I could see a little bit where my, I don't know if you can see it, you can see my thumbprint there. So you want to try to not get too many prints on there, but you do have to hold on to it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our name and class code. So you're going to scratch. Sometimes you have to push kind of hard with these. I had to kind of scratch really hard to get my name in there, but you want to scratch in your name, and then you want to scratch in your class code. Okay, you're either in KB, KC, or KA. I'm going to put KA on this one. And then we're going to make our spider web. And the first, we're going to make our spider web. And the first thing you do to make the spider web is we make a diagonal line. So we're going to go from the top corner down to the bottom corner. Okay, and then we're going to go from this corner to that corner. You should have a giant X. Okay, and then we're going to make a vertical line. We're going to come right down through the middle. That's a vertical line, goes up and down like this, goes right from the top down, and then right when you get to your name, stop. Don't go over your name. Okay, and then we're going to go across. That's a horizontal line. We're going to go straight across like this, right in the middle, there. And now we're ready to make our connecting lines for our web. Okay, I'm going to do a curved line. You could do a straight line, or you could curve it this way. You could curve it this way. I kind of like it curved in a little bit like this. And then I'm going to move up a little bit and do another one and another one. I think I should put one in here too. And do another one. And each time I'm moving up just a little bit on the line and curving it over. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my paper just a little bit, and I'm going to do it again. Curved lines all the way around. Can you guys see the sparkling that's happening with my paper? I'm going to have to show you. Look at this. It's kind of sparkly. Can you see the glitter in there? You really can't see it very good. Wait till you see yours. They're actually glittery. It's very beautiful. It reminds me of what a real spider web looks like when the sun is sort of dancing on the web. If it's got dew on it, moisture on the web, it really looks like this, like in the mornings. If you've ever seen a spider web, I used to live on a farm, so we saw a lot of these. The last thing you're going to do before you stop is add your spider, okay? And you might have, I don't know if you've watched the first part of this video. We're going to need to know how many body parts a spider has. Spiders have 2 body parts. They have a head and an abdomen, but because their middle body part, their thorax, is actually kind of fused to their head. It's called a cephalothorax. All insects have 3 body parts. Spiders, it just looks like 2, but that's really because theirs are fused together. Okay, so when you get all the way around and you've done your triangle, you've got all of your beautiful web in there, all the beautiful lines. Look at all the lines we made. Wow. Then you're going to make your spider, okay? And I think I'm going to make mine, he's going to be hanging right here. I'm going to make him dangling down. I'm going to put his abdomen, scratch it in there, and then I'm going to scratch him in a head. So an abdomen is like an oval and a circle. And then I'm going to put 8 legs, because all spiders have 8 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. You could even give him some pinchers if you wanted to, depending on what kind of spider you're making. Okay, and then when you're all done, just make sure you have your name and class code. Now, the fun thing about this, remember I said not to touch it because it would be hard to scratch off? Well, now when you're completely done, after you showed it to Mrs. Walker, I want you to rub all over it with your fingers, because what will happen is your hand, the oil in your hands will keep it from getting scratched off later when you don't want it to be. So when you're completely finished, we're going to touch it all over the place.